Who is responsible for Taiwan's defense?
Part 69.
The Soviet Union in Iwo-Jima.
Let us suppose that in the battle for Iwo-Jima, February 19 to March 26, 1945, only the United States and the Soviet Union participated.
U.S. troops made large numbers of heavy aerial and naval bombardments, while military forces from the USSR coordinated and assisted as needed, as well as providing reconnaissance. Near the end of March, the Japanese commanders on Iwo-Jima agreed to surrender.
At this point we can imagine that USA military forces were still busy with other military operations in nearby geographic areas. Hence, the U.S. commanding officer directed that senior Japanese commanders and all ground, sea, air and auxiliary forces within Iwo-Jima surrender to the USSR's military forces.
After this, the Soviet Union is to take charge of the administration of the island.
Our question is, has Iwo-Jima now become part of the Soviet Union's national territory?
The distinction between occupation and annexation.
In the post-Napoleonic era, the invasion, conquest, and control of a nation or territory by foreign armed forces is considered military occupation, and not annexation.
However, what if upon accepting the surrender of Japanese troops in Iwo-Jima, the USSR's military commanders immediately announce that the island has become an indivisible part of Soviet national territory, and raise the USSR flag?
Moving along with our hypothetical example, what if 5 years later there is a coup d'etat in the USSR, and a number of high-ranking government officials and military personnel all flee to Iwo-Jima? We can also imagine that the island has a small population of indigenous people.
Importantly, at this point this USSR government, which has recently established itself in Iwo-Jima, still has full diplomatic relations with dozens of countries.
An important question is, can we now consider the Soviet Union in Iwo-Jima to be an independent and sovereign nation?
In the post-war peace treaty, we can imagine that Japan renounces all right, title and claim to Iwo-Jima, but no receiving country is specified.
Qualifying criteria for statehood.
The Soviet Union in Iwo-Jima strongly appears to meet the Montevideo Convention criteria for statehood.
Hence, many international law scholars would be quick to assess that the Soviet Union in Iwo-Jima is an independent sovereign nation, and even though its land area is now only 21 square kilometers, 8 square miles, it is a rightful member of the United Nations, with a permanent seat on the Security Council.
Of course, the new government in Moscow will vigorously object to this, protesting that it is the rightful owner of the Soviet Union's UN seat.
Nevertheless, it can be argued that under these circumstances, a cursory inspection of the Montevideo Convention criteria in relation to Iwo-Jima shows that it is now a sovereign independent nation.
But let us ask an important question. Is it possible that this is a false reading?
What is the truth?
Let's approach this rationally. For Iwo-Jima, we need to look more carefully at the transfer of title. It is only with a clear transfer of title that the new government can claim sovereignty over the territory where it is now located.
Otherwise, the Soviet Union in Iwo-Jima is merely serving in the role of proxy occupying forces and a government in exile.
Importantly, what lessons does this Iwo-Jima case study have for our recognition of the sovereignty claims of the Republic of China over Taiwan?